Hey guys, this is the Minikube initial test setup video. Full disclosure, I've never done this before, so we're kind of learning as we go, but it's going to be an interesting video. So we're going to start out by running curl-lo and specifying the URL to pull Minikube down from. Now, if you want any of these commands, just check the link in the description. I'm going to have a link to a document with all the commands you can copy and paste yourself. Now, let's see, we're going to run dpackage-i minikube underscore latest AMD 64 deb, basically specify the package that we just downloaded. There are multiple different ways you could do this. You could install it as a binary or a package, and I think even as source. But in any case, this is what I chose to use. I felt like it was the most standard, normal, straightforward way of doing it, so that's what I'm going with. Now, next we are going to go ahead and run minikube start, and we run into an error. So first thing, we ran into an error, no possible driver detected. The default driver is going to be Docker, and we don't have Docker installed yet. So we're going to go ahead and install Docker. Now we're going to first run sudo apt update just to make sure our repo info is updated. And then we are going to run sudo apt install docker.io. And there we go, installing that. Now I've sped this up by a lot. So anytime where I'm installing something like that where you normally have to wait, I just sped the video up. So we're going to run docker ps-a to check if anything's running. We get an error because we don't have permissions. So I run it with sudo, and we can see we can query, and there are no images or no containers running. So I'm going to edit the group, the etc group file, and add my current user1 to the Docker group. Save that and get out of there. Then I'm going to exit and SSH back in to the host. And now when I run docker ps without sudo, I'm able to check which containers are running. So we can verify that Docker is in fact working. I'm not going to bother to run a hello world program or anything like that, because we're just going to jump right in and try to run Minikube. So right here, Minikube start again. We're going to run this again, and it is going to install. And this actually took a little while, but I sped it up again by a lot. So run kubectl get po-A, and we see kubectl. The command has not been installed yet. So you could install it separately by itself, but what we're going to do here is run minikube kubectl --get po-A, and this will install the Minikube version of the kubectl command. Kubectl command is what you're going to use for most of your commands to control the Minikube, or to control any Kubernetes cluster. So we're going to add that command. We're going to add an alias to our bashrc file, so we can just use kubectl instead of having to specify the Minikube version of kubectl. We just want to run normal looking kubectl commands. So you add an alias like that to our bashrc file, and we're going to go ahead and source that file. So see here, we're running source bashrc, and there we go. Now that alias should be available to us now. So we can run minikube, or actually just run kubectl get po-A, and we can see all these things running here. So we have, like, for example, core DNS, etcd minikube, API server, controller, a proxy, scheduler, storage provisioner, lots of nice stuff up and running. So all the stuff was just brought up and basically automatically started up for us, which is kind of nice. So next we are going to run the Minikube dashboard. Now this ended up being kind of pointless, so unfortunately I couldn't demo this for you. This is the command you would use to launch it, but you see here it's opening it on localhost. Now I'm installing this on a remote server with no GUI, so I'm not running a web browser or anything, and I'm not going to bother using a text-based web browser. I guess I could have tried that, but I didn't, so I just Control-C'd out of that. And I'll try again in a future video. But next we're going to run kubectl create deployment hello minikube, basically a hello world deployment that we created. And then we're going to run kubectl expose the deployment to expose it on port 8080. Now we're going to run netstat, and it's going to fail because we don't have netstat installed on the machine. I know I should use another command, but I like the old netstat command, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly install it here. So it recommends running apt install nettools to get your netstat command. So no need to run apt update because we already did that just a little bit ago. So there we go. We've installed netstat. Now let's just take a look at what ports are listening. So we can see all of these ports are listening all on the local host. Now obviously you see like 53 and 22, those just came from the system, but all those other ports are Minikube ports. So those are all Kubernetes ports, all listening on the local host, just bound to 127.0.0.1. So next we are going to, let's see here. So we're going to paste this in and run kubectl get services hello minikube, and we can get some information about our service that's running. See like the cluster IP, the ports, stuff like that. And now we're just going to check and just to show you what Docker instances are on the machine. Now we see we just have the K8's Minikube KIC base Docker container. So that's basically what our whole system is running within. So actually the name of the container would be Minikube, but and that's the image is grc K8's Minikube KIC base. Now if you run kubectl get services hello minikube, you can get some more info on that, which I think we just ran that a minute ago anyways. So next we're going to go ahead and run Minikube's service hello minikube, and this did not end up being too useful. It exposes it on this port, which is nice and all, and I'm going to need to investigate this and explore this and try out all these features a whole lot more before I make my next video, which is going to be hopefully a whole lot more insightful. So like I said before, this is just an initial test setup. This is just me testing everything out, initial impression and everything. So we're going to run wget on this URL here and see what page we can pull down. There wasn't a whole lot on that page that's interesting, but we can take a look at it anyways. So basically a blank page, but it tells us that we were successfully able to query it. Now, yeah, so all these things that aren't working that great and aren't giving us, so here we're running kubectl port forward service hello minikube, forwarding a port. Now all these things we're going to go into in a whole lot more detail and give you like a correct, much better example later on. I'm going to show you basically everything you can do with this in the future videos, but this is hopefully going to be the start of a whole series where we cover a ton of Minikube and other Kubernetes related topics. So this is running for a little bit here, forwarding. It says it's forwarding from 127.0.0.1, 7080 to 8080. And now we are going to go ahead and open up another terminal here while that just sits there forwarding. And we're going to SSH back into our Kubernetes host. And from here, we are going to try querying that. So we're going to grab that, basically query the local host. It's kind of unfortunate that this stuff isn't exposed on a public-facing IP. That's probably one of the first things that I'm going to have to change. So for my next video, I'm probably going to attempt to expose these things all on public IPs rather than just on the local host. This is intended to be run on like a test laptop or something like that. So in any case, same thing, not a whole lot. So request served by, and there's our yeah, not a whole lot of interesting stuff there. And you can see in the output in that terminal behind here, handling connection from 47080. So it gives you some debug info regarding what's going on. So now we're going to go ahead and run just the Minikube command just to see what options we have. So you run Minikube with no parameters, and it gives you basically a usage, all these commands you could play around with. You run Minikube status and see the status of each component of our cluster. We're going to run a few commands here, but not all of them. So you can run Minikube pause to pause it, and we're going to run onpause to unpause it. And from here you can say Minikube add-ons list, and you can list all these excellent add-ons. There's a ton of interesting things you can install and play around with and put to use. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that's available. For example, you have like headlamp, G-visor, helm, all sorts of interesting things like that. Cube flow, ingress, and so on and so forth. So now we're going to go ahead and just edit this, and we're going to run stop to stop our cluster. And it doesn't take too long. It should be done. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and also start the cluster right back up. And we'll be destroying it in a little bit, but for now we're just going to start it right back up. And it's coming on up. It'll be up in just a sec. And almost there. And there we go. So we've started our cluster back up. Now we're going to go ahead and run a status, see everything is configured and running. Now we're going to go ahead and run Minikube start on a specific version of a cluster. So we're attempting to start another cluster, and we're specifying a specific version, so it's an older version number. And this is failing, so we're getting an error with this. So another thing to try to get this working in the future. Now, basically everything in this video that I'm going over comes from the official documentation. This is all from basically the Getting Started guide provided. Basically the official Getting Started guide. So we're going to go ahead and cancel this thing. Just Control-C out of there, run a Minikube status. We have at least one cluster up and running. So from here, we're going to go ahead and destroy this. We're just going to destroy all clusters that are currently running. So Minikube delete all, just delete everything. There we go, all removed. So basically everything is deleted. So go ahead and hit that like button, and you're going to want to hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on all the great content we have coming up. We'll also have a lot of great content we've already put out, so you're going to want to go ahead and look at that history of videos that we have, and make sure you also hit the bell icon. Otherwise YouTube's not going to let you know when we do come out with a new video, and again, you're not going to want to miss some of the stuff we have coming up. So yeah, definitely subscribe, hit the bell icon, and more importantly, leave a comment down below. Not just for me, but for the next person who comes along and watches this video. They'll see your comments and be that much more informed. If you know something I don't know, leave a comment down below. Any comments, questions, criticisms, whatever you want to say, we do want to hear it. So leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.